This is the story about baby Leilani Salomon. Beautiful baby Leilani Salomon was born to Brian Carroll and Evangelina Salomon. The young couple, who both lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, would meet sometime in the early year of 2019. And after dating for a few months, the young couple decided to make their relationship public and Facebook official on July 9th, 2019. A few months later, Evangelina would become pregnant, sharing an ultrasound on Facebook of her pregnancy in October on the 2nd of 2019. Although they just started their relationship, it was decided that they would keep the baby, and young Evangelina was happy about becoming a mother. But soon, Evangelina would come to realize that becoming a mother wasn't going to be as easy as she thought. Posting on Facebook that she was struggling to cover the required expenses and buying the basic necessities for the baby. During her pregnancy with baby Leilani, it seemed to be trouble in paradise. Evangelina would post frustrations with Brian, expressing anger, loneliness, sadness. She even went as far as saying she was single. Evangelina would post messages like these to her Facebook saying, "I miss being loved." But in the end, the couple will end up back together. On April 19, 2020, Leilani Salomon was born, weighing in at 7 pounds and 15 ounces. But just a few short months later, on August 25th, things will make a turn for the worse. On August 25th, officers were called to University Medical Center after Evangelina Salomon and her boyfriend, Brian Carroll, brought their daughter to the hospital, where she died hours later. The Clark County Coroner's Office identified the baby as Leilani Salomon, who was only 4 months old. After the death of baby Leilani, Evangelina would tell friends and family that her daughter had died from SIDS, even making a Facebook page dedicated to her daughter to raise money for the SIDS organization, making this post. But later, it would be determined that Leilani's blood showed meth traces, and she died from drug toxicity from meth.
David.
4-month-old Leilani Salomon died from what the coroner's office said was secondhand smoke from her parents smoking meth or meth residue that was on her parents' hands. Now her dad, who isn't supposed to be using any drugs, is accused of violating his terms of release at least a half dozen times.
It's a positive test on December 13th of this year.
Judge Harmony Letizia begins to read off the Times 24-year-old Brian Carroll's scram bracelet alerted house arrest to meth in his system. In all, Carroll is accused of using meth 6 times in the last 4 months.
One of the main conditions of his release was that he was to have regular drug testing, and obviously given the nature of the charges that he was to remain clean.
Carroll and the baby's mother, Evangelina Salomon, faced child abuse charges, all in connection with their 4-month-old daughter's death in 2020. Carroll telling investigators he and Salomon used meth together, sometimes getting high in a bathroom adjacent to a bedroom where they left their child. The coroner's office ruling the baby died from meth toxicity, from either secondhand smoke or trace amounts of meth on her parents' hands.
Later, when Evangelina and Brian were questioned by the police, they would tell the police they smoked about 4 times a week, beginning right after Leilani was born, regularly using meth, but the couple said they smoked and used needles in the bathroom while the baby was in the other room to keep her away from the drugs. When the officers asked how Leilani would have been in contact with the drugs, Brian said it could have been from him touching and using meth with his hands, and it possibly being on his fingers. Not knowing at the time, as he carried baby Leilani, the drugs were possibly being transferred onto her. Brian did express remorse for his careless actions. Both Brian and Evangelina are both charged with second-degree murder in the death of baby Leilani. This is truly sad because Evangelina and Brian were very young parents that needed help. They tried to be good parents, and I do believe they loved their daughter. But to be honest, you can't be a good parent when you're on drugs because your judgment and decision making are affected. And in this case, the result was so severe. And from what I found on their Facebook pages, Brian and Evangelina both started drinking and using drugs as minors. So it was only a matter of time before their drug use would escalate. And unfortunately, baby Leilani would pay with her life. Leilani's life was ended way too soon, at the very young age of 4 months. And I couldn't help but wonder if someone in the family tried voicing concern for baby Leilani and getting them both the help they truly needed. This story really just broke my heart. But tell me what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section. But this is a true tragedy. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Rest up, baby Leilani. Another fallen angel going way too soon. An estimated 30,000 teens in the Las Vegas Valley are at risk of getting addicted to drugs and alcohol. Only 1/3 of those will ever get the help they need. So if you see something, say something. Report drug abuse. Call 888-981-4704. You can remain anonymous.